Welcome back to Bearded Axe TCG, everybody. I'm your host, Viking, and this week we're just doing some updates and just kind of a small sort of free-form thing because I just have not had time. It's been a super hectic week, and just being able to set something up and actually go do the footage and stuff that I would typically want to do for a video, I haven't been able to do. It's just not in the cards this week, unfortunately. So we're doing something quick, something fairly simple. As much as I hate standard talking head videos, we're just gonna have to deal with it. So, with that being said, I've had a few people ask me what I'm going to be playing for this next PQ, which is on Saturday over at Kayfabe Games in West Jordan, and I'm still on Palpatine. I haven't changed that. It's been testing really well for me. I like what the deck does, and I've really been able to get that deck to work with my playstyle, right? I do have a bit of a specific playstyle, being a very tempo mid-range style player, and there just hasn't really been any other decks that have fit that the way that I want them to since Django got banned, or suspended, I should say. That really threw things off for me because Django was like the perfect fit for me playstyle wise. And again, I started playing him early in set 3. So I've been kind of scrambling in set 4, and I think I've mentioned that before, but I am on Palp. I've been, again, really able to tailor that deck to what I want it to do, and I've just been making some updates and doing some tuning and stuff to it. So it's getting refined, and it's really getting to a point that I'm pretty happy with. There's still some things I'm a little unsure on, but like they've been doing some pretty good stuff. So I don't know. Again, it's not quite finalized with the exact build, but I know I'm on the right track. And again, I've been really enjoying what the deck is doing, and I've been able to get it to shape to my playstyle a lot better than a lot of decks have. Another update is my brother actually switched decks. So he was at the last PQ. He was on Anakin Green. We were playing ECL originally. Then I switched him to Data Vault because that's just how the meta was trending. I was like, let's just build him a deck that kind of follows the meta trend because I think that would be best for him being a newer player. And then we went back to 30 HP because he wasn't really liking how inconsistent Data Vault made the deck because, let's be real, 10 extra cards, well, it doesn't seem that big of a deal, and the overall numbers aren't that big aren't like drastically a problem. They still affect your draws and affect your early game consistency and whatnot. So he was definitely noticing that, and we switched him over to a 30 HP base for the Spanish Fork Planetary Qualifier. And that was his first major event ever in a card game. So he did his best, he played, but he's still learning the game, getting used to a lot of the unique aspects of it. So he's hoping to come back with this next one and do better. And part of that is I found a deck that really fits the way that he likes to play games. You see, we played Digimon together. I got him into that when I was playing that a couple years ago. And his favorite deck was Rookie Rush, which is basically just playing a bunch of little dudes and kind of rushing the board with them and just kind of winning through like low cost advantage essentially. Well, there's a deck in the current meta that fits that pretty perfectly, which is Vader Yellow. So I built that deck because it, well, for one, was super cheap, and for two, because it just was a perfect fit for him. So we've been really teching that and having him test it and figure out what he likes, what he doesn't like, and I've been slowly kind of tuning it for him as he's given me feedback. And so that's what he's going to be playing at the Kayfabe PQ. So he's completely switched decks, but again, I think we finally found a deck for Star Wars that just fits what he likes with card games. And he's been doing really well with it. He actually was able to get 2 wins out of our 3 rounds at our LGS here, which is the best he's done so far at the LGS. So he's pretty excited. He's having a lot of fun with the deck, and I think he'll do a lot better with that than he will with Anakin. It's a bit more straightforward, like Rookie Russian Digimon was, and it's just a really good deck. So, um, yeah, we're hoping that he can do some cool stuff. So there's kind of our updates and kind of what we're planning for the PQ for anybody wondering. Yeah, nothing crazy to say there. I was thinking of switching over to Luke, the new Luke. I guess it's Luke 4, for this one, but I just like Palp more. I'm a lot more confident with it. I started playing it kind of late into set 3, but I built it more as like a for fun thing, like just purely built this to basically take people's stuff and run with their units. Just because again, I thought it was kind of cheeky and funny. But going into this meta, I again have been more able to like competitify that build, refine it, and I've just found a way to build it that fits my playstyle and works really well into the meta. So that's kind of what we're doing there. Next up, I wanted to just say how thankful I am to the Star Wars Unlimited team. How thankful I am to the Star Wars Unlimited team over at Fantasy Flight, because they have done something with Star Wars Unlimited that is just unprecedented. I have not myself experienced or even witnessed a meta in a card game being this diverse. What they've been able to achieve with Star Wars Unlimited is just unheard of, in my opinion. Or in my experience, I should say, not my opinion. What they've been able to achieve with Star Wars Unlimited is just unheard of in my experience. And I've never been a part of a meta that is this diverse and this open at the same time, right? We're still seeing weird random new builds and decks pop up in big events and stuff pretty regularly, and like that's just amazing to see. So just huge congrats, or huge just huge kudos to the team over there, because you guys are doing just a killer job. I know there's been some hiccups, right? Boba 1 was a bit of a problem and you guys fixed that. And then Django became a problem with set 4 and you fixed that. But you also like made sure that DJ got checked so that Han 1 didn't just dominate again. Like, you guys are just doing a great job. And I know there's some people that are concerned about you getting too suspend/ban happy, but I just don't see that being the case. You've been very reserved about the limited list or the suspension list. And you've really proven to me that you're willing to just sit back, see what happens, and take in a bunch of data and input, do your own internal testing, whatever you need to do before you make a decision. And I think that that's really, really important. So I have no concerns that we're just going to start getting bans left and right, or suspensions left and right. And I think you guys have just been doing a killer job. I'm really excited for the next set. And again, it's so crazy to see such a diverse field, and especially only set like 4 sets in like this. Again, it's unheard of, and I've never been able to experience something like this. So I'm having like the best competitive experience I've ever had in a card game. I'm having the best competitive experience I've had in a card game in my 15 years of total experience. And I'm excited to play more and just continue on moving forward, right? I'm super excited for the Galactic Championship and just to see what you guys do and just where the game goes. Because this game, it truly has been just such a great experience. And it's led to the best competitive experience that I've ever had. So I'm very thankful to that, and just again, huge kudos to you guys, because it's been awesome. with that being said, there are some problems at the moment. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this originally, but I figured I'd touch on it here. And that is the team manipulation that's been going on. So what I mean by this is, and this is a problem that's been in other card games over the years, but it's been a lot more prevalent with Star Wars Unlimited, and I think it's because of how Melee works. So what I'm talking about is large teams, right? Teams with quite a number of players entering events and purposely conceding or intentionally drawing to each other to manipulate the statistics of the tournament to boost each other up and up, right? So they're not actually sitting down and playing the game. They're not actually like testing their skills and winning through their own they're winning through their own merit and experience. They're just manipulating data to help keep moving each other forward. And one of the biggest problems I've noticed with this is they've been doing it to other players, not just their teammates. They've been trying to convince other players to do the same thing. And I just find it very, very unsportsmanlike. And it's just, it just doesn't, it's just wrong, in my opinion. Now, this wouldn't be that big of a problem if it wasn't wasn't for these teams being so large, right? If it was like 1 or 2 players or whatever, like whatever. But when you have 10 or more players, it really just like you start really skewing data and skewing numbers quite a bit. And especially when these teams get on YouTube and whatnot and like specifically mention that like, yeah, my teammate conceded, or like we intentionally drew because it guaranteed us a better spot. Like, why, for one, why would you like admit that you're doing something like this? And for two, like, that just feels bad because you're not helping you're helping each other move forward, but you're not like pushing each other forward, right? If that makes any sense. So, my problem with this really lies in the fact that this is a solo sport, so to speak, right? You enter these events as an individual, right? You are individually like registered into these events, and you are playing against your opponents one-on-one, right? Mano a mano. And it is your skill and your experience that gets you through the tournament, right? And the best man at the end is the one that gets the top spot, right? That is how this should work. The problem is when you have this big team entering this event, which inherently isn't necessarily a problem. Again, there's been teams all over the place in card games to help each other test and split costs and things like that. But when you have the data at your fingertips on Melee telling you everybody's exact scores and pairings and positions in the event every single round, what this ends up doing is they can look at this whole team and go, oh, okay, this person on my team, they need to do this in their matchup. And if I do this in my matchup, right, this breaks the tie breaks, it moves us both forward a bit better, and it helps ensure that my teammate gets further ahead, right? And so what's happening is they enter this event as a team and are bringing this whole team dynamic and this team manipulation and like whole thing, right? Which is a whole compounding problem because there's so many of them entering, and that data for the statistics and the overall standings and stuff are right there at their fingertips, right, for everybody. But they're entering this event as a solo sport, right? Everybody else at this event are individual players playing at this event to try to make it to the top. So when you have a whole team entering the event, using that number manipulation to help boost each other up, what it's doing is putting all the individual players at a disadvantage, right? The team is basically always going to be ahead because of how they're doing this over that individual player. And it's very, again, just poor sportsmanship. And to me, it is a very scummy thing for people to do. And I don't agree to it at all. And one of the biggest things I've seen is people that are trying to argue for this, like, oh, this isn't that big of a problem. It's been happening in card games for years, right? Just get good, just win, right? That's always their thing. Like, just win, just get better. Like, obviously, like, we're entering these events to win, right? Like, we wouldn't enter a regional qualifier or whatever to lose. Like, that's not the point, right? We're there to win. We're there to test our skills and to prove ourselves, right? That's why we enter these events. So your argument's not really an argument at this point. Like, it's not an argument in the first place. And you shouldn't try to be arguing for these people anyways. So it's like this whole thing, and it really, really frustrates me because in previous games that I've played, again, Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Force of Will, this type of stuff, yes, it happens sometimes, but not to this degree. And that's because that data wasn't readily available for everybody. You could, like, depending on the tournament organizer, they might print the standings and stuff for everybody every round. Or a lot of the times in my case, every event that I've ever attended, except maybe a couple, whenever they would print pairings or put them up on the screen, that's all they were pairings. They never showed what positions anybody was in, their specific standing, their win-loss ratio, none of that. No data whatsoever, just who they were playing against and maybe what table they were at. That was it, right? Which, depending on the tournament software, the table sort of determined how well they were positioned in the event, but not always. And so, again, this type of thing has been a problem in other card games over the years. But because Melee gives everybody access to that data at just the click of a little menu, right? It makes this problem a lot more exacerbated. And it's really shown because this has been a hot topic lately. A lot of people have been getting on it. A lot of people have been touching on it. And again, there's been a lot of kind of discussion around it, especially lately, but just since I basically started the game. And this was a problem that I never really noticed playing card games before because it just, again, it wasn't that prevalent. Sure, it probably happened here and there, but never to this degree, right? And when we have teams openly talking about it and saying that this is something they do, and there's like the entire community is talking about it and trying to give their input and whatever else, clearly there's something going on here. And again, it's a compounding problem where we have these very large teams entering these events, and Melee gives everybody that data at their fingertips, which it just shouldn't. I personally believe that as a player, we shouldn't have our standings or any stats for any other players available to us until the end of the event, personally. I know some people like to see like, oh, look at that, I'm in third place right now or whatever. But I don't think that matters. You should know how well you're doing based off of how well you're doing. Have you won all your matches? Maybe you've lost one, right? Whatever, right? Like, based on just how your games have been going, you should be able, as an individual, to know how well you're doing. If you're undefeated, you're probably on top, right? You know, like, oh, I'm one of the top players right now, right? I just need to keep this up. Maybe you have one loss. Then you go, okay, I may not be the top players, but I'm just below that. And I still have a chance to win this whole event if I win every other game, right? Like, you just know that. Like, that's something you learn and you understand as you play these events and stuff. We don't need that data at all. We don't need to be able to see that. And so, again, this problem is just compounding because of these big teams, because the data's there on Melee. And there's been so many people just talking about it and stuff, and so many just arguments about it that just are like, it's not an argument. Just saying get good and just win the game, like, dude, that's what we're all trying to do, you know? And it's really frustrating because I don't know where these people are coming from or whatever, but that being their argument, just no. Give me a reason why, right? Like, why would I enter that event in the first place if my goal wasn't to try to win that event, right? Saying get good and just win, like, okay, yeah, I'm trying, right? Like, I don't know. And again, that doesn't matter. I could win that matchup. But again, if that team as a whole is doing this and trying to convince people to do it and continually moving those numbers and that statistics and stuff in their favor, it puts every other individual at a disadvantage at these events. So you saying just win and be better or whatever literally means nothing, right? It's not an argument. It doesn't add anything to this conversation. And all it shows is that you're very ignorant and you really don't understand why this is a problem. All right. And then kind of same for like the people that said like, this has been going on in card games forever. And yes, to a degree, this has been a problem in card games in the past. But again, not to this degree. There's always been large teams and stuff that have kind of tried to skew numbers and stuff through just their sheer numbers. But again, that data hasn't always been at everybody's fingertips. And depending on the tournament organizer and stuff, they may not have ever given that data until the end of the event. So that argument also isn't super valid. Yes, this is something that's happened and has been happening, but it in the past was never this bad, right? Because the numbers were like, the data wasn't there and teams wouldn't know what they needed to do, right? They could guess, right? But they wouldn't know exactly. So I find this being a big problem. It's a personal gripe to me. And I just find it super dishonest. It's dishonest to everybody that is at that event, but it's also dishonest to yourself, because if you're using your team to boost yourself forward in that way through that number manipulation, you're not growing as a player. You're not winning that event through your own merit, experience, and effort, right? And you're kind of being able to skip forward because other people are there to help you do so. And again, that's a dishonest thing to yourself. And I just ask, if you want to win that badly, right? If you want to win so badly that you'll join this big team, allow that team to manipulate numbers for you and help you get to the top, how do you feel now that you understand that everybody else at that event is at a disadvantage to you and you're not winning because of your own effort, skill, and merit? That's all I want to. That's all I want to ask. That's all I want to know, because myself as a competitor, that's what I want to do. I'm there to compete and push my skills, test myself. I don't want somebody helping me move forward. So that's just my question to you, and just kind of the little thing that I wanted to touch on here. Again, there's been a lot of people in the community talking about this lately because it's really come up lately. And like, not to discredit Wu, who just won the Minneapolis regional. Because I think he only got paired against 2 or maybe 3 of his teammates overall. But still, out of a 700 player event, you get paired against your teammates 3 different times, right? Twice in Swiss and once in top 8. It's just, or whatever it was. I don't know. Maybe it was more than that. I can't remember exactly. But still, like that's still crazy that you see your teammates that often in such a large event. Like, I've played 200 player events and never saw my teammates once, right? Even though we all had the same scores and everything, like we'd never get paired against each other. It happened occasionally, but not not regularly, right? But again, there was only like 3 of us on a team at a time. That we didn't have a dozen people, attending an event together. Um, and maybe I've been kind of blessed in that way because every like group or team that I've played on in the past, we were basically out for blood. Like, yes, we tested together and helped each other learn and grow and be better players and help split costs for travel and stuff. But if we got paired against each other in a large event, GP or regional or whatever, we played the sweatiest games we'd probably ever played in our lives when we got paired against each other. Because we wanted to push each other. We wanted to go, I know how this matchup goes. I know how this player plays. I'm going to do everything in my power to win this match. And really push my teammate to the limit. And I knew that the teammates that I had back in the day had that same mentality. And so we played just the craziest, sweatiest games like potentially possible. And we understood that the best player wins that match and they move on, and we just cheer our teammate basically from behind now. Right? We go, good job, keep it up, man. Like, take down the event. Like, keep going forward, right? There was no conceding to each other. There was no intentionally drawing. None of that. And again, I think I was lucky in that way to have teammates that were willing to be on that same page, to push each other, to compete with each other, right? And I think that may be part of why I see things so negatively with what's been going on. But also, like, I've done martial arts my whole life. I have a very martial arts kind of philosophy in the way I live my life. And just a very, like, weirdly traditional, like, Scandinavian way where I want to live my life with honor, dignity, respect, and pride, right? And this goes like both ways, right? I want to be able to do those things for myself, but also for the people around me. If I can't respect the people around me, if I can't honor the people around me, right? Then like it's not worth doing. And so that's just kind of how I do the thing, like how I go about living life and how I view things. And when I see these big teams doing this type of stuff, it's just like, that is not honorable. That is not respectful to your opponents or anybody else at that event. And I don't agree with it. And I think it's just wrong. So that's what I have for you today. This ended up being a little bit longer than I kind of planned for it, but it is what it is. We had quite a bit to say, so enjoy this kind of unedited, unfiltered sort of take on the channel. Again, I haven't had time this week, so we're kind of raw dogging it in a way through this video, but I just wanted to talk about this stuff, give some updates, and just tell you where I'm at. So there we are. Expect some better stuff, next week, hopefully. I hope things get better, but again, it's been crazy, so doing what I can. But I do have some plans and some things that I want to do, so we'll see how it goes. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.